Good morning. Good morning. My cat is super chatty, so I have a feeling we may be seeing her here popping in and out of the screen. Her name is Booger, just for the record. We're talking about success and who doesn't want success in their life. I don't know that I've met anybody that they said, yeah, not so interested in that. I'd rather be on the other side. No, I think we all want success in some capacity. And I say in some capacity because what I really want to focus on this week is the fact that you are the only one that is responsible for the definition of success. That's the good news. Only you can define it. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be all of these external people that are trying to give you their opinion of what success looks like. So today is Let's Talk About It Tuesday. And this is your opportunity to write in and ask a question or get coached on the air. And if you don't have a chance to listen to us while we're live, that's okay, because this is YouTube and they'll be out there forever. You can go back and listen to it. But we didn't get anything. So we're going to talk about kids, because I think there is something so innocent and pure about children that I wanted to look into their definition of success. When I think back to when I was a kid, honestly, when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be on stage. I was going to be a singer. I was going to be a rock star. And by the way, I'm never too old to dream. So this could absolutely still happen. And I remember I would run into my parents' basement. We had basements in Virginia. Not everybody has them, but so we had a basement. We had the middle floor, which is where the kitchen was, and then we had our top floor, which is where our bedrooms were. And down in the basement, my parents basically had a grocery store. They called it the pantry, but I've never seen any pantries like this. It was basically a grocery store. And so they would send me to the grocery store and say, like, hey, can you go get some flour, or can you go get whatever, some graham crackers or something. And I remember going downstairs and I would run. And I was so convinced that there was someone that was down there that was going to steal my voice, that was going to steal me for my voice. I was convinced of this because on stage, I was going to be that rock star, right? I mean, I was going to be that singer, and I had this amazing voice, which, arguably, whatever. But I was convinced that somebody was down there and they were going to steal me for my voice. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I would go down and I would sing like this, la, 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 and I would make like the worst noises because I wanted to convince them that I did not have a good voice and that they shouldn't steal me, that they should change their mind, go back to Hollywood. You don't need to be here in Northern Virginia in the Sugar Myers basement hanging out in their grocery store. No. So I would sing in the most terrible voice, and then I would run quickly back upstairs. And why did I do this? I mean, kids have such a beautiful imagination. There was nobody in my basement. There was nobody that was trying to steal me. I'm sure that there are better ways that they could figure out than hanging out in the Sugar Myers basement waiting for me to go get graham crackers. But that's the level of self-love that I had. That's the level of connectivity that I had with myself. I was so convinced. I was so sure of myself. So if we don't get a question on Tuesday, if there isn't someone that wants to get coached, I want to talk about children because there is something so pure and so innocent about the youth and the way they see the world and their optimism. And I started watching some of these videos because I said, kids just they've got this idea of the world that really they think massively. And I started watching them and it was like, what is your, definition of success, or what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was everything from I'm going to be president to I'm going to be a dinosaur. And you can't really convince these kids otherwise. And would you want to? Would you want to crush their dreams and say, actually, you can't be a dinosaur? Well, maybe not in one definition of a dinosaur. And that doesn't mean that that person can't grow up and work in a museum or do children's parties and dress up as a dinosaur. But yeah, I mean, can you actually be a Tyrannosaurus Rex, like a real Tyrannosaurus Rex? I don't know. I don't know that that's possible. But this is how kids dream. And and I think it's such a good reminder for us that we can dream big. We can think about what is it that I want to be? What is it that I want to do? What to me are my goals? But then if you ask those same kids, how was your day? It was great. Why was it great? Well, my friends gave me a snack at lunch and I got to play on the playground and I got to hang out with my best friend and even though they didn't become that dinosaur, even though they didn't become president, that doesn't matter. That is in the future something I'm working towards. And this is why us learning to be present is so key. Because when we start to take life in bite-sized chunks versus, "Whoosh, I'm going to do it all. And unless I do it all, then I'm a failure." The only way that we are going to learn to have that same kind of peace in our day-to-day life is if we start living day to day. And that doesn't mean don't have those big dreams. That doesn't mean don't have those big goals for yourself. But are those big goals how you want to define today? And we talked yesterday a bit about comparing and how we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to everyone. So that's first and foremost. When I listened to these kids, they didn't say, well, Jimmy over here was doing this and I did this, so I'm a failure. They were 100%, or we'll say in the 90s. I don't know that I should say 100% for anything, but they were focused on what they were doing, what brought them happiness, what didn't bring them happiness. And so we get so caught up in what is everyone else doing and have I hit that big long-term goal? And if the answer is I am not comparable to everybody else and I've not hit that goal, which a lot of times their definition of success then becomes our definition of success, then we are not successful. The most powerful thing, I was watching through a bunch of different videos. The most powerful question that I heard asked was, would you want to be rich or would you want to be happy? Again, these are to children because we can learn so much from the youth. I would encourage you to go out and watch some of these videos. So the question is, would you want to be rich or would you want to be happy? And I'm sure there were all kinds of answers. The only one that made it into this video is these kids said, I'd want to be happy. I don't know. Maybe some of the kids said, I'd want to be rich. I don't know. But have you ever asked yourself that? Would you want to be rich or would you want to be happy? And I'm not here asking those two questions as if they're completely separate and you can't be both. Because 100%, I believe that you can be happy and you can be rich. I think if you understand the tools in your mind and you realize that you have power over the definition of success and that you can define your own happiness and you can define who you are and that you own everything in your life because you do, then absolutely you can be happy and you can be rich. But if the question is you get to pick one or the other, the kids in the video, at least the ones that made it into the video, all said they would choose to be happy. Now, what I didn't observe in this video was any thought process behind this. Well, let's see. If I'm not rich, that means that I can't, maybe that means I don't have health insurance. And maybe that means that I can't have that big house. And maybe that means that I'm not going to have a pool. And who doesn't want a pool? And am I going to be able to buy the floaties for the pool if I'm not rich? And, all those things do make me happy. And, there wasn't this dialogue within these children for them to assess what does it mean to not be rich and play that story out. Their response was very quickly, I'd be happy. But as adults, as we start to get older and we think, there's so many things that about being a kid that I'm just not interested in. I'm not interested in going back and dealing with the popular kids or whatever, or the crowds. I'm not interested in rediscovering out who I am. There's so much wisdom that comes with age. And if you are willing to learn and take lessons, and it's amazing to be older. I wouldn't be in my 20s again. I wouldn't be in my teens. I wouldn't any of that. And I'm sure when I hit 40, which is coming up, I'm going to say, I don't know. Would I do my 30s again? I don't know. I think 40 is awesome. I think that's just how it goes. But there is something that is so pure and so innocent about these children, that they aren't overthinking, that they aren't over analyzing the situation, that they are truly in their heart, would you rather be happy or would you rather be rich? And it's like, I'd rather be happy. Are you serious? Like, life is too short. Why would I be anything but? I want to be happy. And I'd issue you this question. Are you in your own life asking yourself that question? Do I want to be happy, or do I want whatever it is? And maybe how can I be both? Because absolutely you can be both. You see, the truth is, we all want happiness. There is not anyone that I've met that says, I have this goal in life and it's to be miserable. And if someone tells you that, they're probably hurting inside. No healed, happy person says, I want to be miserable. It's just not a goal. We're just not wired that way. That's why our brains release endorphins and serotonin and all of these beautiful things. And some people go pay for that. They'll go get a little pill and they'll take these pills so that they release these endorphins and serotonin and all the things, because they make us feel good. Nobody that's depressed wants to be depressed. They want to be happy. So they go take a pill, or they go take a run, because we know that running will release those endorphins. Maybe we go jump out of a plane because it gives us an adrenaline rush and we feel really good. We feel high. Nobody wants to feel miserable. But are you aiming for that in your own life? And it doesn't matter what that looks like. Some of these kids, it was, what made you happy today? Well, they started listing things off. Ate this at lunch, played with this kid on the playground. I got to put macaroni on a piece of paper and glue it and paint it, and that's what made me happy. And that was a successful day for them. Why was it successful? Because they did things that were meaningful for them. They did things that that brought them joy. They were with friends that brought an element into their space that uplifted their soul. So why, as adults, do we have this I'm not fill in the blank enough syndrome? I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not successful enough. We are the ones that are defining this. We are the same people as those children. We're just decades older. And yet, so many of them, their level of happiness far surpasses any of ours, even though we've got all of these things. We've got the house, we've got the pool, we've got the bank account, we've got the ability to go on vacation. These kids are like, man, I just washed all the windows. Mom and Dad, can I have $2, please? I'll take my allowance. But then they get the $2 and they're like, oh my gosh, what is the potential I can do with these $2? I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy a Barbie, or I'm going to go buy a little, piece of candy. And you get really excited over that. When was the last time you got excited over $2? Think about it. You define everything in your life, including success. And it doesn't mean don't have those big dreams for yourself. If you're saying, I want to be a doctor, great. Let's look at every single day by day and start to reassess what our definition of success is. And success doesn't always have to be tied to if we've accomplished that goal. And we'll talk about this more on the show, but maybe what your goal isn't what the universe's goal for you is. I'll say that again. Maybe your definition of your goal isn't what the universe intended for you. Maybe there was something completely different. And we get so focused on that goal, and we are defining ourselves by that goal and measuring ourselves up to that, which very well we may have defined that goal by comparing ourselves to other people. Well, my goal is to be here because that's where Ellen DeGeneres is. So until I get here, then I'm not successful. But guess what? The universe may have a different idea and say, you know what? You are really good in TV. You are really good at being a comedian. But guess what? I'm going to put you over here because you are going to be more maximum service to the world when you're over here versus here. And what happens when we put all of our eggs in a basket and we say, here is our definition of success, and it doesn't work out? How then do we feel? Not that great. Not that great. So let's take life in bite-sized chunks. Today, what brought you happiness? Because that's it, right? When we ask these kids, would you rather be rich or would you rather be happy? And again, we know that you can be both. But what brought you happiness? Because to them, that's their goal. I think we all need to take a chapter out of a book of a child. And if we can couple that with the wisdom that we know now, powerful. If I could go back, there are certain things that I would tell myself, my younger self. I'm worth it. I'm perfect the way that I am. I'm beautiful. I matter. What would you tell your child? Or any child? Maybe you don't have a child. Maybe you're a cool aunt like I am. What would you tell that child about their success? Would you say, nope, you colored outside of the lines. You're a failure. Nobody should be telling a child that they colored outside of lines and that they're a failure. The fact that they tried, the fact that they had fun, the fact that maybe they got a little better than they did last time, these are all things that we need to be celebrating. And they're looking at this masterpiece going, look what I did. And we have to be careful as the adults, because if you start to say, yeah, but you colored outside of the lines, or if they start comparing themselves to other people, this is where that stinking thinking comes in. And they start comparing and they start to say, wow, I guess my painting isn't that good because I colored outside of the lines. What do you think abstract art is all about? People have made millions and millions and millions of dollars on abstract art. And abstract art is not color in the lines. It is not perfect. It's smeared. It's art and it's beautiful. So this week, when we are talking about your definition of success, really analyze that for you and how you've defined it. Have you defined yourself against something that is so far in the future, or that is in the future, or something that you don't have control over ultimately, because the universe may decide that, hey, you have a different path? Have you defined your success all the way out here and you are not living in the present and enjoying what you have today? And if that's the case, Or even if it's not the case, how are you making the best of every single day? How are we looking and becoming present in our own life and being grateful for the things that we do have and looking at these small accomplishments and giving ourselves a pat on the back? Because that's where happiness is. If we put happiness out here, guess what? It's not going to help you today. Today only happens today. And I want you to be happy. I want you to be successful. I want nothing but the best for you. And only you can decide that. You can refute other people's opinions and their definitions. And I will share with you this week a very powerful definition that was hurled at me and how I refuted it. And we'll talk about that sometime this week. So today was Let's Talk About It Tuesday. You are welcome to email me. It is higherandheels@gmail.com. You can also go to the website. It's higherandheels. At gmail.com. That's the email address. And the website is www.higherandheels.com. There you go. That's where you'll find all of the information. Make sure you go out there and get a copy of our free magazine that will be coming monthly. And make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share. That's how this channel is going to grow. I don't define the algorithm. I just go by the rules. The more likes, the more subscribes, the more we can grow. And we want to be intentional about our lives, ladies. This is all about setting our day off on the right foot. So I want you to go out there and you will be successful because you own that definition. And I am so excited. Shoot me a note. Just tell me what success meant to you today. I will see you back here tomorrow on Words Matter Wednesday. You matter. I matter. Everybody matters. I'm coming up. I want the world to know.